Now, before we get into this video, I will make a minor admission. I messed up the audio on it. The microphone wasn't plugged in properly, so we didn't get any sound recorded through the beginning. So I will try and, well, dub over as best I can. Bear with, and it gets better as you go along. Surprise ending as well. Thanks for watching. Hello, welcome to Furious Driving. I'm here away from home in a little lock-up garage in the middle of nowhere with this, the 420 GSi Tourer, which has been abandoned in this lock-up for quite a while now. Too many weeks, in fact, because, well, the rear wiper isn't working. Not essential, but the brake lights are also not working. They are essential. And then when I needed a flasher relay to get the 200 VI going, this is where I stole one from. So fortunately, I was able to find a genuine new old stock MG Rover item still in the box on eBay for about a tenner, and this is what I'm going to try and squeeze into the dashboard. First of all, will be a bit of an adventure because a van has parked across the back of the garage and I can't get the car out, so some reverse Houdini style yoga to get this under there, and then hopefully we'll have one of the three problems fixed. And then we'll move on to the more serious problem of the brake lights, because those are very essential and we need them for driving quite a lot really. So we'll start off with the basics and try and figure out where the problem is. There's not a lot that can be done to the paintwork of this particular car, but short of sandpaper. But as always, I want to say a quick thank you to our regular channel sponsor, Diamond Bright, whose range of amazing car care products have been keeping the rest of the fleet looking absolutely fantastic for a good few years. If you've seen any of my cars at shows over the last couple of years, you'll have known how good they look. So if you want to try and make your car look as beautifully impressive as one of mine, not this one, then head on over to diamondbright.co.uk and use the code FD10 for 10% off your order. Now on with the video. Now, I have spent far too long up underneath the dashboard of Rover R8, so you might remember this kind of stuff with couldnt. It's not comfortable, it's painful on your knuckles and your back and basically everything else. It's a 4-pin plug with offset tongs, tangs, splines, whatever you want to call them, so it can only go in one way. Yeah, easy, only took about 27 minutes. Great, so now hopefully we have got working indicators. Yes, we have, huzzah! I would just say I would never normally put that big Draper heavy taking tools to the job site bag on the bonnet of a car, but as the paint on this car is trash, it really doesn't matter. Incidentally, this bag and other things are available on the Amazon affiliate link. So now to troubleshoot these lights, I'm going to go through the obvious stuff, the fuses and the bulbs, check out which one is what and what goes where. But also, the last owner did tell me that the lights had failed previously around the same time as the wiper had gone, so I'm wondering if perhaps there may be an issue with the wiring loom into the tailgate. So the pedal is pushed down with the tub so I can check out at the back what kind of voltage I'm getting. The lights are not on. Test meter to the lamp is showing 0, which means we've got a circuit issue. So the next thing I've done is removed with great delicacy the trim on the tailgate, disconnected the wiper motor, so we can now, with a little bit of an adventure because the wires are fractionally too short, connect up wiper motor to power, so as if the problem's with the motor or the circuitry. Incidentally, while I'm being here, I'm being distracted by the broken courtesy lights because I've just noticed now this panel's off that both of them have got a couple of their wires broken off the contact, so I will have to go and solder them up and make them a bit prettier and hopefully work as well. Right, so first of all, check out the Austin Rover logos on these. That's pretty cool and retro. But there are 3 wires on each of these courtesy lights from the tailgate, and they've both lost 1 or 2 solder contacts, so I just need to re-solder these things up, and then I can hopefully have nicely functioning courtesy lights in the boot. I can replace these with little LEDs as well to make it a bit more power efficient and brighter. A little side job really there. But what I basically found was that I've got 12 volts going to the wiper motor, but nothing happens when you put 12 volts directly to the thing, even straight from a battery. So I'm guessing the wiper motor is broken. That's a battle for another day when I can find one. Secondly, all of my fuses seem to work. So you can pull them out, test them. They don't seem to be the problem either. And the bulbs seem to check out as well when you put a test meter on them as well. So all in all, a bit confusing. So probably this is the foot pedal switch. So let's get one of those ordered up and see where we go from there. Right, I had to go home and do other stuff because it was, you know, getting late and it was close to school pickup time, but I'm fairly confident the problem is not with the fuse and it's not with the wiring. What's most likely to be the issue with these things is up under here. If you can see that just there, that is the brake light switch, which is incredibly well hidden up here. So, amazingly, this is, apart from being very hard to get to, only finger tight. So I can actually unscrew it just like that, but I might try and take the wire out first. Glad I brought my kneeling pad down this time. Last time I came down, there was a van loading across the back of a garage and I couldn't actually can move the car out. And with a test meter hooked up, just quickly unhooked that plug from that, making it much easier. Power is running through there, 14 volts because the car is running, because it's been sat in the garage a while, so it'll be good to let it idle a few minutes. Charge the battery and get the oil flowing. Yeah, so I've got power running to that switch, which means it is definitely the switch at fault. Hooray! I'm not sure what you can see because it's all very well hidden, but this is just literally finger tight and unscrews. Oh. I did pre-order a switch because I figured this is the most likely culprit, even before I tested it. And so I'm going to wait another hour or two for that to arrive. This is the switch. This bolt here on the front isn't actually for tightening it, that's just for setting the distance away from the pedal that the switch is set. So just wait for this thing to turn up and then we can go. So I can just do a quick test on this. I can do a continuity test on it. So that's open circuit. Oh yeah, that's turning the lights off. Now I'm confused because I don't need a new switch after all, perhaps. Ooh, different problem. No, I know this isn't going to fix it, but I did have these left over from doing some, I don't remember, I bought them before actually, but I bought them in error, but I put a pair of them into the 200 VI and they're really bright. I'll put them into here as well, where they'll also be really bright should they work. These are super bright LEDs. I might just give us a quick try just to see if anything happens. It might just be needed a better bulb in there. That'd be crazy, wouldn't it? Right, so I'm reading 12 volts on here with this connected, but nothing showing here in the back. And also just basically bridging the circuit does nothing as well. That's just basic wire. That's that. So it's 12 volts going somewhere. So it's 12 volts going somewhere, but why is it not reaching the back of the car? Aha! I've just had an aha moment and everything went hooray and worked. What I did, as bizarrely simple as it sounds, I'll cancel the order of that light switch in a second. I basically got my pliers, damn it, I took out this crusty 20 amp fuse from the brake light circuit, stuck it in whatever that one is, and suddenly the brake lights work. Well, that was an easy fix. It didn't need disassembling half the back of the car. The one next to it is actually the rear wipers. So I'm going to put this known working fuse in there and see if the rear wipers work. Reader, the rear wiper did not work. Right, so that is a massive relief that it was just basically bad fuses. Incredible, I didn't know that was such a thing. So I've just been over to Halfords, bought myself a complete box of fuses. I'm going to replace all of them. I know someone did suggest doing that a while ago, and maybe discard a different car, but first of all, time for coffee and a donut. Then we'll crack on with fuse changing. Right, that is all of these changed out. They don't look blown, but they are just kind of matted, dulled on the connections, so maybe there's bad connections. Might come in throughout the car, so that's certainly going to head off any future problems. Quick double check that it does still work again. Alarm off. That is doing its thing over there. Oh, boot shut. Yeah, and also while I was in there I noticed that a couple of these light bulbs are actually kind of coming apart from the bottom, so I've bought 2 new light bulbs to replace these. I will LEDify all of them, but Halfords didn't have any in stock. Right, now the fun begins, because I've got to refit this little puppy here, which hopefully I didn't disturb that nut, so it should just go back into its correct position. Just got to get finagle it up through here, which is a whole bunch of no fun. Oh, come back. Oh, I wish I'd not taken this out and just disconnected the wire. So all reconnected, can't find it anymore, all reconnected, refitted and functioning. So now what I do is rotate that little switch until that goes out. Easier with a friend to watch. Push the pedal, the lights come on, fantastic. This is extra good news. Bonus, I just thought since I've just changed every fuse in the car, that might fix some other circuits. Incidentally, it did not fix the rear wiper. I thought I'd try plugging the radio in. The R750 from Rover still does not power up, so I'll send that down to a friend perhaps who might be able to do something with it. But this one, this Sony I've been trying, hadn't been working, does now work. It was struggling because John Williamson True Blue 2 disc 1 was stuck in there and just like a millimetre out wedged, and it wouldn't do anything. But this has got loads of stuff. It's got USB, you can see that on the front there. It's got auxiliary input on the front from that little dial there. It's got Bluetooth audio. It's got phone link. It's got a tuner. So I've already managed to tune into radio 1 and 2 and it gets a great signal. So suddenly this car's got a radio again. Better and better. Right, so this is fantastic news for 3 reasons. First of all, I've now got functioning taillights on this car, so I can take it and drive it. The thing is MOT'd, they just weren't working. Secondly, it was a really cheap fix. Even the replacement switch would only have been a couple of pounds, but I'd kind of got into my head it was a more serious problem. And yeah, it's just fuses. Who'd have thought it? Because I'd checked all the fuses a couple of times and they were checking out fine. So the fact it was just bad fuses, which is something I've really not encountered before, is a bit of a freaky miracle, but great, it's done and fantastic. I've got working taillights. I can drive the thing. I'll tax it at the end of this month, perhaps beginning of next month, I don't know when, but soon. This car will be back on the road instantly. Second good thing, it was really cheap, which is great. And third good thing, it's just started raining and I've got the car back indoors and I'm not going to get wet because we got done in time, which is fantastic. Oh, fourth bit of good news, we now have a radio, which is awesome, although this doesn't seem to power itself down with the ignition, so I'm going to have to make sure I turn that off or something. I'll switch over the power wires or just get the Rover one fixed so it does it properly. Either way, I've got music, so long journeys are miserable if you haven't got any actual music to listen to. Good news, I mean, the only thing I haven't got done is I haven't repaired those interior lights for the boot just yet, but I'll do that in the next video. Hopefully that won't be too hard to figure out, and I haven't got a working rear wiper, but we'll come back to that later on. What I actually intended to do when I rolled this car out was actually get underneath it and start undersealing it. So that'll be the next video along, I guess. We'll be getting underneath this car and getting it clean and fresh and looking nice to actually use maybe across a bit of the winter. Not too much in the winter, it's too nice a car to do that to. Anyway, I hope you've enjoyed this adventure in the 400 Tourer, the 420 GSi Tourer no less. This is a bit of a rather nice car actually. So yeah, I might actually bring this one up to the NEC because no one has seen this car in the metal yet. So this might be quite a fun one to bring up. I was thinking I might go and bring the Rover 2000, but this has got the potential to be the one because it's got lots of storage space. It's very comfortable. And as I say, no one has seen it. And maybe I could show you that as it is now with its terrible paint and in a year's time when it's looking fantastic. Who knew? Who knows? Anyway, thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed. And as always, please hit like and subscribe. You know the drill. And I'll see you again next time, trying to fix something completely different. Goodbye.